What is up, everyone? What's going on? Welcome back. Hello, and welcome to your WWE WrestleMania Backlash 2021 review. What'd y'all think of the show? Not terrible. We got some really ridiculous things to talk about here, but I think overall, the show was pretty decent and absolutely fantastic main event between Cesaro and Roman Reigns to close the show. Pay-per-view main event, title match for Cesaro. That's pretty cool, even though the finish, or, you know, at least the winner, was somewhat predictable. I was absolutely perfect in my predictions. It's really not that much to brag about, as a lot of these matches were not that hard to predict, but we did get them all right, and I don't think any of us really expected Cesaro to win the title tonight, but I think we definitely expected a really, really, really good match, which we got. And liked everything about that. That was a really good outing for both guys, and I think every single Roman Reigns title defense so far since winning the title has been amazing. Very good. He's a very good champion with very good opponents, and that's making for some spectacular pay-per-view title matches. So way to go there, guys, in the main event. Give me your overall grades on the show. A, B, C, or D, 0 through 10. Whatever y'all thought, and we'll get into it and discuss it, you know, kind of bit by bit here. I apologize for making you wait. Right before I went live, I had like 3 big sneezes, so I was like trying to gather myself and try to get up here to you guys as quickly as possible, but I was hoping I wasn't going to come up here with like watery eyes. But we're here now, and we're ready to go. Based on what I saw, you know, social media-wise, I think the show got pretty decent reviews. I mean, we're going to talk about the zombie stuff, so don't worry about that. But overall, besides that, I think this was an okay show. We're winding down the Thunderdome. We got some information on the next pay-per-views. Hell in the Cell is actually going to be bumped all the way up until June. So now we've got Hell in the Cell coming up next month on June 20th. And Money in the Bank has been bumped back to July where it used to be, which is fine. I actually prefer that. I think that's going to be, at least the rumor date right now actually is July 18th, I believe is the date on that, according to Andrew Zarian of Mat Men Podcast. And they're claiming that there's going to be fans at that event. So we might get some fans prior to SummerSlam, and that's actually kind of good because I don't know about y'all, but I'm over this Thunderdome. I mean, I'm just over it. I mean, tonight after that zombie shit, I'm like, I'm so done with this stuff. I just can't take it anymore. Probably the funniest part of the whole show tonight was the fact in the main event that they piped in Roman sucks chants. What a world we're living in. After these idiots have spent, you know, the past 6 years pretending these chants don't exist, and now they're actually piping them in. Go tell your 2016 self that they would be piping in Roman sucks chants in just a few years down the road. You would freak out. So pretty crazy. But, you know, overall, I think the show was okay. Let me cruise over here to the chat, say hello to those who are waiting. Be sure to smash that thumbs up button for me, if you don't mind. We're in the middle of 3 straight days of podcasting here. We were actually up here yesterday for the Winged Eagle, where we did the predictions on the show, but I also gave my thoughts on Zelina Vega's return to the company and the passing of New Jack. So if you want to catch my comments, yesterday's podcast is available on the channel right now, and then we'll be up here tomorrow night, right after Raw, for another review. So that's kind of in the cards for the next couple days. I want to say hello to Melissa and Stone Cold and Legendary Bigfoot, Maka and Clyde Slater in the house, JJ Legg, Mr. E, Reese Jones is back, Pete, Ben, Martin, and George Morris with the $5 super chat. What's up, dude? Hey, Greg, how are you doing? Backlash, 0 out of 10. Shawn Michaels documentary, 10 out of 10. And gas stations in my area are out of gas. Be safe. Yeah, gas is okay where I am at right now, but yeah, I see these morons filling up like garbage bags of gas and putting it in the back of their pickup truck and deer shit, Alabama. Yeah, we might be low on gas. Good luck to you. That sucks. And hopefully the rest of us are not going to have to deal with that. There is a lot of wrestling related content on right now that I got to catch up on. I'm going to do most of that tomorrow. I got to check out the Shawn Michaels A&E biography, which I believe is on tonight. The Rob Van Dam Icons, is it the Icons, right, is on Peacock right now. That looked really good, this little trailer I saw for that. And I still have not watched the Nick Gage Dark Side of the Ring. I plan on knocking all of that out tomorrow, probably after the Raw review. So I won't be able to offer any comments on that probably until next week, but I do plan to catch all of that. There's a lot of stuff to watch right now. I know the Nick Gage episode is gnarly. I don't know how much I'm going to like that because I've never been a huge fan of hardcore wrestling, never knew much about the guy, you know, other than just hearing his name. And I know the, you know, the CZW hardcore stuff was really never my cup of tea, really. So I never knew too much about him. You know, other than the fact that he's dealt in drugs and crime and all sorts of crazy violent shit, and it should be interesting, and a lot of you have given me your opinions on that so far, but I'm still yet to watch it. So I'll be catching up on all of this content next week, and I will give you some thoughts on it eventually. I think of the ones that I'm missing right now, I want to see the Rob Van Dam one the most. I'm sure the Shawn Michaels A&E biography is great, but I think all in all, it's going to tell us stuff we've always known, just present it in a different way. So I think the Rob Van Dam one is more interesting because I saw a little clip of Vince talking about him, and that was cool. So interested to watch that, interested to watch a lot of stuff. Let me cruise down here, get some more super chats, and then we'll get going. Tomas Aridia, thank you very much for the $5 as well. That show was the sheer definition of bland. 5 out of 10 did nothing for me. Ew, Hell in the Cell next month. I know now I'm not a fan of the Hell in the Cell pay-per-views at all, but much less when they just kind of throw them at you, because I've just always said you should just save Hell in the Cell matches for specific instances and not build a whole pay-per-view around it. It's so stupid. So now we have to deal with this again. Give me your thoughts on who could be in those matches. Could it be Cesaro and Seth, or, is Roman going to be in there with somebody? Maybe Lashley and Drew blow off in the cell. I don't know. Based on what happened in that match tonight, I'm sure some women will be in there. Not sure if they'll stick Bianca Bel-Air in there right away, if they'll do something else. Don't know, but it's here, and whatever. I want to just skip it and get to Money in the Bank if it was up to me. Reese Jones, welcome back. Appreciate the super chat from you as well. I'm starting to think the person to take the Universal title off of Roman will be the Money in the Bank winner. It might be the only way to get it off of him, because I don't know if WWE really wants to beat him clean, even though he's been there for a while now as champion, been back for a while in this heel character. This dude, they've found their niche with Roman when it looked like it was helpless with the, cheesy shit, Cena 2.0, suffer and succotash promos, and to turn him into what he is now, I just say keep it rolling. So it might have to be a situation where the belt is stolen from him or taken from him by the Money in the Bank winner. And I just hope this year we have a fun Money in the Bank winner. They just completely dropped the ball last year, giving us a Money in the Bank winner we didn't really need, and then passing it on to a Money in the Bank winner we didn't want. So hopefully this year, it can just be a much bigger situation. Justin Kong along, thank you for the $5 as well. So that's what happens when Jason Momoa and Jason Statham get into a fight. Yeah, I actually, believe it or not, I know who those two guys are. I saw a picture of Jason Momoa, and he's standing in front of a lawnmower, and he goes, "I'm Jason, and this is Momoa." I just laughed my ass off. But anyway, that actually does kind of look like them, doesn't it? Pretty cool. Very funny. Let's see who's next. Deshaun, is that you? Did I miss somebody? Nope. Deshaun, you're up next. Thank you, dude, for the 5. Hey, Greg, the last 2 matches were awesome. So glad that Rey and Dominic finally made history. Also, Charlotte and Bianca was looking amazing tonight. They were. They both were. I really liked. I like Charlotte kind of branching out with her gear a little bit. It's kind of making it her own. She kind of had a Cruella de Vil thing going on, which she looked really good in. But I kind of like that she's kind of staying in the same theme of her dad, with the robes and stuff, but branching off with a little HBK and a little Taker and a little bit of her own stuff. And, I like that. I've been digging her gear the last few weeks. And Bianca, of course, always looks amazing because she is amazing. Chris Ludecki, appreciate $5 from you as well. I really like that that main event ending. They didn't overuse finishes and do the 20 false finishes with a big move kick out. Yeah, they kept that in check, and primarily because, both of these guys have submissions too. So you saw some multiple sharpshooter and guillotine attempts there, so that kind of helped it. But yeah, they weren't overdoing it with the false finishes. I mean, even a couple times there, Cesaro kicked out at 1, which I like that. The whole match was very good. I even put on Twitter late last night when I was just thinking about this. I was like, or maybe that was the day before. I said, who do you think has had Roman Reigns' best singles match? And a lot of people pointed to Daniel Bryan at Fastlane in 2015, AJ Styles at Extreme Rules 2016, Brock at WrestleMania 31. I think another match was in there somewhere, maybe with Owens. The Jey Uso Hell in the Cell match was also very good. Lots of matches like that, and I was curious where this match would fit. And you guys can tell me, because you guys are probably better at this than I am, but like in terms of Roman Reigns' best one-on-one matches of his entire career, where does this one sit? And considering how good this one was, imagine how much better it would be, as I mentioned yesterday, imagine how much better it would be if it was in front of fans, if there were human beings in the audience to really, kind of get over and cheer on Cesaro and really, help make the story of, the way he's fighting like this. I just think it would have been so much better, as good as it was. It would be nice if these two guys can go at it again once fans return, but who knows where we'll be by the time that happens. But overall, very good stuff by both. K-Dogs, Kennel, what's up, dude? Thanks for the 5 from you, too. Love to stay, but got to be up at 5 a.m. for work. Damn. Yeah, and it's probably quite late for you already. I'll definitely be here for your Raw review tomorrow. All right, man. Appreciate it, Kevin. We'll see you tomorrow. Can't wait. Good luck with work, dude. Mike Witt, good to see you. Yeah, of course they made Cesaro look strong despite the loss. I didn't think they wouldn't have it any other way. That's one good thing about these Roman Reigns title defenses is that all of his opponents have looked amazing. You know, Kevin Owens had him beat multiple times. Had it not been for Jey Uso upped his stock in the matches he had with Roman Reigns, especially in that Hell in the Cell. Both of them actually, and now and then Daniel Bryan, of course, one of the better SmackDown main events in history. And of course, Cesaro looked like $1 million here in the losing effort and did the deal where, he passed out. It was it was kind of in the same theme of Austin at WrestleMania 13, just not quite. But they just beat the hell out of each other, man. Really good match. Real good match, but we'll get into it here as we go. We actually did get a kickoff match tonight, which was surprising. Open challenge by Sheamus. And and then other than that, pretty predictable stuff. No title, or we had one title change, which was the only one that we picked in the predictions yesterday. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it then, since I think we are caught up. Yeah, the RVD one is on now. Figured that might have been available earlier today if we wanted to check it out. Zombie Jacks. Oh my God, Real American. We're getting there. Don't worry. We'll be to Zombie Jacks here in just a second, but we're going to start with the kickoff show because they announced at the beginning of the kickoff show, the panel was Kayla, Booker T, JBL, and Rosen Gardner, or whatever the fuck his name is. So they were on the panel, and I swear they announced right at the beginning of the kickoff, like the first few minutes of the kickoff, that there was going to be an open challenge by Sheamus, and then he would come out and do the open challenge later on or whatever. So Sheamus comes out there, and this is like 40 minutes later. There's like 20 minutes to go before the main card. Sheamus comes out there for the open challenge, and Ricochet answers the open challenge. Great. This is awesome. I wish this was on the main card and Ricochet gave him, a 1-2-3 Scott Hall or 1-2-3 Kid Razor Ramon Monday Night Raw moment here and pinned him out of the blue. Would have even been better if it was for the title. But this is non-title and it basically means nothing. And Ricochet comes out there, I guess, in street clothes, which I guess, the deal there is, he took advantage of this open challenge, but they announced the open challenge. They mentioned it like 30 minutes prior. So didn't he hear about it? Wasn't he aware of it? Didn't he have time to put his gear on? So, they were trying to keep it realistic that, he kind of just ran out there and took advantage of an opportunity kind of thing, and he's got to wrestle in the street clothes. But really, if he's paying attention, he should have time to put his trunks on there and get his gear on and get out there and wrestle like a normal person. But the match was going to be meaningless anyway, because what would it really mean in the end? I will say I thought the match was decent, especially the finish with Sheamus winning. This is a non-title match, by the way. Sheamus winning with just a knee strike, just a straight, hard, stiff knee strike, putting Ricochet down. He sold it amazing. Maybe not the best knee strike of the week. I think that goes to the Bucks with the BTE trigger on poor Christopher Daniels this past week. But this one was pretty good. Put Ricochet down hard, and Sheamus won. One thing I did notice in this match, though, that is getting annoying is that typical WWE, this is what they always have to do. They do this every single fucking time with everything. Once they find something that's mildly entertaining, they beat it into the ground and they wear it the fuck out within 3 weeks. So I liked the first time that Sheamus did the face stretching thing. That was cool. But much like the Matt Riddle flip-flops, they're making it, they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And I expect that next week on Raw, when he stretches somebody's face, production's going to add flying birds coming out of the guy's mouth and maybe some pyro behind his head. They're going to completely wear it out, make it old. They've already done that. So I'm already tired of Sheamus stretching people's faces out when I think it would be a fun thing to pull out of his hat every now and then. Every 5 matches, stretch a motherfucker's face. It would be fun. But nope, you got to do it every week because every single fan ever needs to see it. So anyway, already tired of that. So anyway, Sheamus beats Ricochet, and that's that. Main card time now. They opened up with the triple threat Raw Women's title match, Rhea Ripley defending against Charlotte and Asuka. And this one, I wasn't too concerned. Fans' biggest argument here is that Asuka is in this to take the pin, but I say Rhea is in it to take the win. And she did. She wound up winning here, but as predicted, Charlotte did, or Asuka did, kind of eat the fall here, but I didn't care. Rhea was a beater at WrestleMania. The point here was to continue Rhea on, I would hope. And they also just don't want to beat Charlotte. It's not WWE style, just to randomly beat her clean. I think she could have just been out of this match completely, and you could just done a rematch with Rhea and Asuka. But they put Charlotte in there like they did with everything. I was hoping for a lot more in this match. I was hoping to see Alexa Bliss. We saw her on Monday Night Raw when all the women were in the ring saying she's targeting one of them. I was hoping it would be Charlotte. Maybe she would show up here, freak Charlotte out. I think Charlotte would be the best option for that because of everybody in the ring. She's either going to have to be going after Mandy Rose or something, which would be boring, or one of the big girls, Charlotte or Asuka. But Asuka would probably be into it. She'd see Lily and be like, "Oh, Lily, come to me. I want to play with Lily." She'd kiss it and everything. Asuka wouldn't give a fuck. Charlotte might be a little bit different story there. A little bit freaked out by Alexa Bliss enough to cause the distraction, get her rolled up or something happening where Rhea Ripley retains. We didn't see that. We just got the match. Typical stuff here. We did get the big top rope floor suplex moonsault, by Charlotte onto Asuka and Rhea Ripley. Later on, double suplex onto Charlotte by Asuka and Rhea Ripley, which was good. After they're both spent, or all three of them are spent for a while, they're on their knees, all slugging it out with each other. Eventually, Charlotte kind of gets taken out, and Rhea hits the Riptide on Asuka for the win and retains. Not surprising. That's pretty much the way we thought the match would go. But if it was all the same, I would have rather just had Rhea Ripley, number one, either just do a rematch with Asuka, which would probably be better just to handle that on Raw, and have just a different opponent here. Somebody, that's the problem with the women's roster is you don't have a Cesaro on the women's roster that you can put in there with Ripley as just like a new fun opponent. It's always got to be, you got to put Charlotte in there and all this shit. And so I just don't want to see these three just do what Strowman and Lashley and Drew just got doing for the past, 9 weeks or whatever it is. So hopefully this kind of makes a new opponent for Rhea Ripley, and Asuka and Charlotte can both maybe concentrate on other things just for a bit. Let Rhea run into SummerSlam with the title and then reevaluate, take it off, or Money in the Bank, whatever. Have somebody cash in on her, or whatever you got to do. She doesn't have to hold the belt for a year or anything, but do better than what you did with her when she was NXT champion is pretty much all I ask. And of course, that all came to a halt because of Charlotte as well. So we defend Charlotte on this channel. I think fans are idiots the way they overly criticize and get overly angry about Charlotte, but that doesn't change the fact that WWE sometimes has their head up their asses when it relates to her, and I just want them to cool it because I do like Charlotte. I don't want to hate her. She's got all the time in the world to break and exceed her dad's title record. She's very close to doing it already. And like I said, I kind of like that she's changing up a little bit, got a little bit of a different attitude, got herself suspended and fined, and she's changing up her gear a little bit, which I like. And it's all about, it's all about evolution, and she's doing a little bit of that. So we'll see where it goes from here. I'm sure tomorrow night on Raw, it'll be the same fucking nonsense. But anyway, next match up was the tag team title match. Dirty Dogs defending the Smackdown tag team titles against father and son team of Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Now, I have to apologize right here because I was daydreaming. I was in another universe. I didn't see what happened to Dominic. Was he attacked backstage? All I know is he was back there with a doctor and he was hurt. Is this leftover from Friday? I'm just completely oblivious to what's going on there. So Dominic is like hurt, and the ref and the doctor's like, "Oh, you have to find another tag team partner." So Ray went out there alone. So he goes out there alone against the Dirty Dogs. Of course, he's getting worked over. I think they injured his knee or they target his knee, but they spent a lot of time beating the shit out of him. Dominic winds up waddling down there. He makes his way to the ring, and Ray, and I kind of thought they might be setting up for a heel turn here because the way Dominic got up there on the apron, he wanted the tag, and Ray is like, "What are you doing, son? What are you doing? I'm not going to let you get in there. You're injured. I want you to get more injured," kind of thing. So he's hesitant to tag Dominic, and the first thing I thought of was Royal Rumble 1994. Brett wouldn't tag Owen. And what happened? Owen kicked his leg out of his leg. So I thought maybe Dirty Dogs would retain the titles, pin Ray. Dominic would be pissed. This is my chance, Dad, to win a title, just like Owen had never won a title before. This is my chance, and you were just too selfish, and you couldn't do it. And then he kicked his leg out of his leg and then cut a promo in the back with a loogie hanging off the side of his face. But luckily, that didn't happen because I think I'm open to a Dominic heel turn, but maybe not here. I kind of want to see this moment for them because I've seen a lot of father-son teams down over the years, and none of them have been as equally matched as these two guys. None of them have actually been good, credible teams that could win a championship. One side of the team, generally the dad is usually not as strong as the other team member or way past his prime, or maybe in some cases the son is just too young and green, like David Flair was with Rick. Where here, it seems like it matched up. Ray has still got a lot of gas in the tank, and Dominic is getting better and better. And it's believable, and plausible that they could actually win championships together. So I like the story here that was told. Like I said, Ray is hesitant to tag Dominic in. Eventually, he blind tags himself in, starts going crazy, but then he gets overwhelmed. Tables turned on him. Tag to Ray, who's immediately halted. He jumps in the ring, and he's stopped literally in his tracks. And then, Dominic gets back in there. They turn the tables on the Dirty Dogs. Dominic, did he hit the splash from the top rope? Is that what he hit for the win? And the Mysterios won the tag team titles. So they tried to really swerve us, tell another story about Dominic getting injured and Ray not wanting him to risk himself and going it alone. And then Dominic, being courageous enough to battle and all that stuff. It was very, very nice. And I thought it was a really cool moment for the two of them. They had a promo after the match in the ring. And just like, that's like a pretty important piece of history, which is why, as happy as I am about this piece of history, it's kind of upsetting that they didn't do this at WrestleMania. You owe Ray that. This guy has killed himself for this company for 17 years. You should have given him and his son this moment on the biggest show in front of wrestling fans on a historical, significant show. Not that this won't be remembered, but it would have been remembered a lot more at WrestleMania. So I don't want to criticize WWE for doing something cool. I just think they could have done it a lot cooler, and they could have done a lot better than this with doing the title change at WrestleMania. That would have made me as a wrestling fan much happier, because I think this is a really cool thing. Like, it's the first time in history that father-son has been WWE tag team champions. And when you think about father-son teams over the years, like I said, none of them have been as equally matched as this. When Stu Hart got in the ring, or Vern Gagne, or Larry the Axe Hennig, or Dusty Rhodes, or Eddie Graham, it was a completely lops. They were way past their prime by this point. I think Brian Christopher and Jerry Lawler teamed up maybe early on, and they were kind of okay. I'm trying to think of some other examples where father-son teams where they were actually believable, and there just isn't any. They have no peers in this regard. They are truly the greatest, from an in-ring perspective, the greatest father-son team in terms of what they're capable of doing from an athletic and in-ring perspective alone. Find me a better father-son tag team. They're not around. They don't exist. Maybe they will in the future. I think they definitely will in the future. When you see some of these freaks of nature now, some of these crazy athletes, when they have kids, I have a feeling LeBron James might actually play with his son in the NBA, which is crazy. So the same thing can happen in wrestling. I have no doubt. This is very cool for these guys. But in terms of father-son teams, nobody can touch them. Unless I'm completely forgetting a big chunk of history, I can't think of somebody that can even come close to Ray and Dominic. So very cool for them. Congrats to both of them. It's got to be quite the thrill, for Ray, you would think, to accomplish this. And like I said, it's awesome. It's just, for me, I just hate it when WWE, I feel like they dropped the ball on something, to where, as good as this is, if it was at Mania and you had crowd there reacting, and Dominic and Ray and sharing the embrace, and the fans kind of eating it up, what a moment, what a moment that would have been. So I think I'll always regret that, but either way, congrats to father-son. Very awesome. Okay, alcohol, before I talk about the zombies, the zombie jacks. Maybe I'll go over to the chat and look over here for a minute before we start talking about the zombie jacks. Do me a favor, since we have a decent audience in here right now, smash that thumbs up button for me. Make sure you subscribe if you don't, or if you have not yet already, because I'm here all the time, including tomorrow night, excuse me. I am reading something and trying to talk at the same time. Tomorrow night, after Monday Night Raw, we'll be here for a full show review. So come check it out and return. This is a cool channel. We have fun here. Let me cruise over here, knock out a couple more supers, and then it's Damien Priest and Miz time. Let me see. Where do we go? Okay, K-Dogs, I got you. Mike McGee, you are next. Appreciate the $2. You think Jimmy Uso get a Universal title match? No, maybe if they're going to that again, but we already did that twice, right? So he got 2 in a row last year. I think probably not is my instinct, but they're still keeping this issue, this tension between them. It still feels like Jimmy Uso is, yes, he's with Roman, but there's still just a lot of problems. He's still abused by Roman, and eventually you could think this could boil over and he gets sick of it and say enough's enough. Jimmy, is insisting. Oh, Jimmy Uso. Sorry, I'm confused. Jimmy is the one that is basically saying I ain't nobody's bitch. You're right, Mike McGee. I completely read that wrong. Jimmy Uso getting a Universal title shot, yes, because Jay got one. So maybe Roman wants to do the same thing to Jimmy that he did to Jay, and maybe this is a big cycle they need to go through to get to both guys complying and just being with Roman. He has to go through that with each one. Maybe, but man, it's just going to take a lot. If Jimmy's really nobody's bitch, which WWE actually took the time to trademark, and he's really nobody's bitch, I can't see him just automatically becoming somebody's bitch. So they could, though. I could see that happening, and maybe that could happen on a pay-per-view as well. We'll see. Don't know. Deshaun Robinson, welcome back again. Thanks for 5 more from you. Well, since Hell in the Cell is coming early, I recommend Hell in the Cell 2009 watch along. 3 cell matches: Punk, Taker, Cena vs. Orton, and Legacy vs. DX. That is a damn good suggestion. I need to watch something more recent, I think, and that would be an excellent. I was going to do Money in the Bank next month, but hell, now we got Hell in the Cell. We'll bump Money in the Bank to July. We'll do that 2011 show. 09 might be cool because for me, I don't remember anything about it. Yeah, we're going to be up here 1 week from tonight doing a watch along. It's either going to be that or a WCW show, but I'll keep you posted on that maybe tomorrow. Chris Ludecki, thanks for the $2. I'm so glad you quote Owens' leg kick correctly. Of course. That is a legendary moment, and I watched it happen live. I'll never forget laughing. I'm like, did he say kick his leg out of his leg? Yeah, Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Sr. played together. I did not know they hit home runs in the same game. Wow. I do remember I was a big baseball card collector. I still have several Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie cards that at one time were worth a lot of money. If I sent them off to get graded, one of them's probably worth pretty good. But man, I loved the Griffies back in the day. Yeah, I know. I wasn't a fan of Cesaro. I mean, well, I wasn't a fan of what happened to Cesaro after the match, Seth coming out there, but I was a big fan of Seth's suit, so that kind of makes up for it. All right, let's get back to business here. My God, we got to talk about it. It's like the big idiotic elephant in the room. Damien Priest versus The Miz in a lumberjack match. A couple hours before the show, our friend Sean Ross Sapp said on Twitter, there was a reason why Damien Priest was mentioning zombies as lumberjacks last week, because apparently there's going to be actual zombies. This turns out to be a match that was done in cooperation or for basically an advertisement for the Batista Army of the Dead Netflix movie or show. I know nothing about it. So apparently it was just a little cross promotion for that. So they had a whole bunch of zombies decked out in Hollywood makeup and all of this to be the lumberjacks. So it's not actual wrestlers here. It's zombies. They come out to the ring. There's smoke effects going on. And it's just this big, scary, you're just waiting for the boogeyman to pop out of there somewhere. They try to have a match. It's completely uninteresting because you can't tell what the hell's going on in the ring. It's dark and the zombies are just, and it's all really good, probably expensive Hollywood makeup. Of all these zombies, there's even an Elvis zombie out there. And the whole thing was ridiculous. I just had no words. I was speechless. I was without speech, is what I said, because I'm like, what? How do you even react to this? How do you comment on this? What the fuck am I watching? And I understand it's a little promotional spot. You couldn't do this on Raw. You couldn't do this on the kickoff and put Sheamus and Ricochet maybe in a more serious match on the card. Switch that shit. So this was all basically, the match was secondary here. This is all about promoting the movie. Or the show. I don't know if it's a movie or show. Don't know. It's all about promoting that. Whatever. Fucking stupid. The first thing I thought of was the old ECW zombie who passed away actually in that resurrection of ECW from back in the day. But in the end, Damien Priest hit the lights on The Miz and pins him. And then the zombies kind of get in the ring, and I think they eat and devour The Miz and Morrison. And shout out to Ryan Satin, who tweets out, oh, now I get it. With the zombies eating Morrison. Get it? Batista, Morrison, Melina, the whole deal. Hilarious. So maybe Batista sent his friends to just take care of John Morrison for him. That was pretty funny. And Batista actually responded to it with a little, what's the purple emoji with the horn? Is that a devil? Like an evil devil? He's an evil devil. That evil Batista. Hilarious stuff. But anyway, really stupid segment. Fans were quite infuriated by it. I'm not necessarily mad about it. I'm like, Jesus, oh brother. This is actually on pay-per-view. I mean, they never did the show. Was it Dolph Ziggler or Shawn Michaels who dressed up as Colonel Sanders or whatever and did that? At least it wasn't that, but this was just all kinds of bad and all kinds of pointless and stupid to be on a pay-per-view, but it's advertising and Money's money. After that, we got Bianca Belair defending the SmackDown Women's title against Bayley. I was kind of looking forward to this match just because I thought the match would be good. Everything that they've done leading up to it has only been so-so. Nothing really that good between them. It's the same old shit when a heel and babyface feud. Heel comes out there, talks shit. Babyface comes out there, talks shit back. A little brawl, sometimes a tag team match, sometimes a pull apart. Same shit, same fucking shit. So now we get the match, but these women are awesome. So the match, I think, could have been pretty good. I think it was. I like some of the spots in the match, specifically one by Bayley where she used Bianca's hair as a ripcord into a belly-to-belly. She like wound her up and pulled her in, boom, caught her and Bayley-to-bellied her for a near fall in a really good spot. The hair was an issue in this match. So, you know, I've said this ever since Bianca Belair was in NXT. Who's going to cut the hair? Give me suggestions. One day in the future, on the main roster, way in the future, somebody's going to cut that fucking hair. Brutus the goddamn Barber Beefcake style with the shears. I promise you, it's going to come to that because that's going to be like nuclear witness protection type of heat, especially if somebody like Charlotte does it. So I've always had that in the back of my mind because we've seen the hair come into play a few times. It came into play big at WrestleMania when she nearly severed Sasha Banks in half with the hair whip. And now it played into the finish here. I kind of think they botched the finish a little bit. It was kind of a roll up type of thing. And I think the idea was for Bianca to use her hair to wrap around Bayley's legs and kind of pull back, which they did get right a little bit, but it didn't come off. They didn't execute it the way I think they were hoping to. So Bianca gets the win. She slides out of the ring. Bayley, of course, is pissed. She goes to the announce booth and tells them to play the replay. And she goes, write it down. She tells them to write it down for some reason. Write it down somewhere in your notes to replay it. And she's demanding that they show that Bianca used the hair to get the unfair advantage there. So I feel like that's planting a little bit of a seed there to where, you know, Bayley's like, you can't beat me without this hair. If Sasha turns back up all heelish, I could see the two of them double teaming Bianca and holding her down. You know, if they could get some male friends to maybe attack the Street Profits, maybe knock out Dawkins on the outside of the ring, and then the two guys, whoever they are, maybe three guys, they hold Montez while he watches Sasha hold Bianca down while Bayley takes the shears and cuts the hair off. Bianca crying, Montez squirming, wanting to kill a motherfucker. Oh, fucking nuclear, man. So might be fun. And I feel like that's something that you should also, though, wait a while on. That's something that you could really save for, you know, a big time feud or a big time program. And as it so turns out, we have Hell in the Cell coming up next month. But if it was up to me, if you're going to do a big segment like chopping off the girl's hair, that is something that has to be saved and is special. And you don't just do it to do it. You do it when, again, there can be audience members there and they can react and it can just be done right. So if WWE is going to do that to that really awesome extension, for lack of a better word, of Bianca Belair, do it at the right time and, you know, don't waste that moment because I think it could be big. But anyway, Bianca Belair is still your SmackDown Women's Champion. Bayley, I'm sure, will be pissed about this and we'll have something to say about it on Friday. Something tells me we get a rematch there and the reappearance of Sasha Banks at some point, I would assume, to also get a rematch against Bianca Belair. And then you got to start talking about triple threat. Wouldn't be surprised if we wound up having that. To tie back in that Bayley and Sasha deal. Or can they coexist? They're going to say that again. And how are they going to coexist in the match? Is it going to be every woman for themselves? Or are they going to rekindle their alliance and maybe double team and attack Bianca? You know, I feel like we'll get that too. What's going on, Alan Barkley? So should say hi to some other people that are here. And I think I got you, Maka Connor and Ibu, and Rarely Even is here. Kev Boz. Martin, I got you, Michael. I think I'm caught up on the super kicks super chats as well. Yeah, I think Bianca, the ending didn't go as well as they wanted. I think they got the overall, you know, idea right, but I think they wanted it to look better. It probably went better in rehearsals than it did in the finish there. But it is what it is, and we'll be getting another match. And all in all, not a bad match. But it was really hard to, it was really hard to almost get into that match when we were just minutes removed from the dumbest fucking thing we've ever seen with the zombies and stuff. And even for me, like I'm not a horror movie person. I don't like horror movies. I'm never scared by them. And zombies, just the concept of zombies are just so silly to me. And there's people that like believe zombie apocalypse are going to happen. I'm like, do you hear yourself? Do you know what a zombie is? A zombie is a dead person that comes back to life and walks around and eats you. People think this shit is really happens, you know, or whatever. It just blows my mind. So I'm just not a fan of zombies or monsters or anything like that. Even when I was a kid, little fucker be in my closet. Come on, bitch. Come on, zombie. Come get me. I'll whoop your ass. No, I'm kidding. I was absolutely terrified of monsters as a kid, but I just think they're dumb. You know, and I just don't like horror movies that have zombies and monsters in them. They're just not my cup of tea. So what I definitely don't need is that shit being brought into a wrestling match and making it the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, after we had time to cool off from the zombie and we get Bianca and Bayley, then it's time for the WWE title match. As a loud motorcycle drives by, Bobby Lashley defending against Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre in a triple threat. This was largely the way I thought it would go, which was good. Big brawl, of course. All three of these men get in there. They're all beasts. I should know. We all work out together, so I know how strong these guys are. They start brawling, of course, brawling all over the ring, outside of the ring. It winds up going up the stage, and that's when Drew McIntyre takes Bobby Lashley and he basically throws him right into the LED wall, the LED set, and it explodes. So Lashley goes flying through that. Explosions come out of everywhere, and he seems to be done for. And Drew McIntyre goes back to attack Braun Strowman, comes back to look through the hole created by Bobby Lashley's carcass, looks for Bobby Lashley but can't find him. Lashley's gone. So Drew and Braun Strowman continue to wrestle. They're brawling up the ramp and on the stage, and they find themselves back in the ring, and they wrestle for a little while, and then Drew just proceeds to go the fuck off. First of all, hits a Michinoku driver. I will repeat that. A Michinoku fucking driver on Braun Strowman. Yeah, you can't be weak to do that. Sean Waltman can't do that move. Ridiculous. And then an immediate belly to belly on the floor just a few seconds later, which, you know, really got some airtime there for Braun Strowman. So Drew was like going all over the place. It was a little bit reminiscent of that crazy run that Cesaro went on that time when he's like not getting, I forgot it was a tag match or something when he was in the bar and it was like maybe it was New Day and Uso, and he's hopping all over the ring like a cat, just uppercutting motherfuckers and flying everywhere. This really reminded me of that, except it was all power moves by McIntyre, just displaying what a freak of nature he is. Very cool spot right after the belly to belly. He then goes for the Claymore on Braun, jumps into him, but Braun catches him and power bombs him through the table. So Drew just executes one power move after power move, just freakishly strong stuff, only to get power bombed violently through the announce table. All good stuff there. They find themselves back in the ring, and they do the typical finish that you see a lot of in triple threat matches. We've seen, and I'd say 70% of them end this way. And Drew gets in the ring. Drew and Strowman are in the ring, excuse me. Drew hits Braun Strowman with the Claymore, and then out of nowhere, you knew he was going to come back because Lashley was missing when Drew went looking for him. Lashley shows up, just throws Drew right outside of the ring, pins Strowman for the win, and capitalizes on the Claymore and pins him after Strowman gets hit with someone else's move. So Lashley wins there as well, much like the Rhea Ripley match earlier. This particular individual was put in this match largely to eat the pin, so one of the other two guys or gals didn't have to, and that was a pretty predictable scenario here, but a scenario that's fine with me. I don't know where you go here now that you have Hell in the Cell on the horizon. I was hoping that after Backlash that this would be the end of a lot of issues. But now that you got Hell in the Cell, how can you begin brand new programs in time to put one in the cell? So you're going to have to look at the current storylines you've got and do it that way. With, somebody who brought up an interesting point here about Jimmy Uso. With Hell in the Cell so close now, it is possible. Damn, that's actually probably what they're going to do. Who mentioned that? Wheezy. Sorry, I almost did forget you. My bad, man. My main man monkey wrench is in here. Who mentioned the Jimmy Uso? Mike McGee mentioned the Jimmy Uso Universal title match. Now that I'm thinking out loud, holy shit, Hell in the Cell next month, he can do the same thing he did with Jay. And Jimmy's going to have to go through that same thing. And Jay could run out there and quit for him or get in the ring or whatever. They might do that again. Yeah. That actually seems like it might be a likely option now for Hell in the Cell. So maybe in a weird, bizarre way, having the Hell in the Cell on the calendar works now because you actually have a match that would make a little bit of sense to put in there. Otherwise, it's going to have to be maybe Lashley and Drew one final time in the cell. And maybe that's when Lashley finally goes over clean, or maybe that's when Drew gets the belt back. I don't know. Or you put women in the match. I'd put Lashley in there with somebody else and then have Roman and Jimmy in the cell. And then, I don't know, would you put Rhea in there with somebody? I don't even know what you do on the women's side. Don't even know. Can't think of anything. Maybe Alexa Bliss in a Hell in a Cell match. That would be interesting. That would be really interesting. Anyway, Michael Cuomo, appreciate the $5 from you. I couldn't stand horror films. When watching films, I want to be entertained, not scared. I want to be scared if I want to be scared, I'll just look at my bills. Yeah, exactly. And even with the horror movies, they don't even necessarily scare me. I just don't like high stress movies. I don't like suspense movies. I ain't trying to like work myself up, you know. I like just to chill out. I just like to chill out. And with the horror movies, you know, like I don't go to bed and see monsters in my head or anything. It's just like I'm just not scared of them. I don't know how to describe it. It's just never been my thing. Gory movies or horror movies or monsters or Godzillas. I don't care. Like literally don't care. Cesaro and Seth, Hell in the Cell, Big J. That could be a good one as well. That'd be a great match. But I also think you got that opportunity there with Roman and Jimmy, and they're both SmackDown guys, or all four of them are SmackDown guys. So I don't know how that's going to work out. And you got to wonder what the future is now for Drew McIntyre. Does he get one more match against Lashley, or does Lashley have a different opponent? And if Lashley does have a different opponent, what does Drew McIntyre do? Because he looked like $1 million tonight. That match exceeded expectations greatly, primarily because Drew McIntyre is a freaky alien man species or something. My God, some of the shit he was doing in here. So Drew was really impressive, and I think largely he made the match for me. And it was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a throwaway triple threat match that I didn't really care about because I don't care about Strowman at all. And Lashley and Drew have just been doing their thing already for a while. And I was like, what are they really going to give us? But it was a good match. It was a good match for these three very beefy men to go out there and have a good triple threat match. Bravo, good stuff. Which leaves us with the main event, Roman Reigns defending the Universal title against Cesaro. This match was everything we thought it would be, maybe even a touch more. I was suspicious of this on Friday, which is why I tweeted, which is why we talked about it yesterday, that this match could possibly be the best match in both men's career. I don't think they quite achieved that, but it's up there. This is a really good title defense by a great champion and a great opponent. Like I said earlier, the funniest thing was in the beginning when they actually piped in Roman sucks chants, which just cracked me up. What a universe we are living in right now. Like I said, go back in time and go tell your 2016 self that the Roman sucks chants that the WWE pretends doesn't even exist, they are now piping them in on purpose on a WWE pay-per-view. It would blow your mind. You'd be like, are you sure? You're really from the future? Let me see your ID. It's just absurd. It's nonsense. It's ludicrous. My God. So anyway, they get in the ring, match starts, Roman begins to dominate early, and he's really exerting his dominance on Cesaro, which is kind of good to see. And I liked he starts kind of working over the arm a little bit. So Cesaro's got the kind of the bummed arm there, and Roman's dominating the arm, really going to work on it. And I think he's got him like back in an armbar, and he's kind of driving it over his shoulder. While he's doing that, he's looking right in the camera, talking shit to Daniel Bryan. DB, is this what you like? Here's your boy, DB, just fucking kicking his ass. I'm like, this is why the dude needs to hold the title until WrestleMania 51. Exactly for this reason. He's so fucking great. Talking shit to Daniel Bryan, and then he's talking to Cesaro. Once he gets Cesaro down, I like how Roman can kind of do that soft-spoken, even in the heat of the moment, even when he's in a highly physical and grueling match, he can still kneel down to you and talk to you calmly in a Jake the Snake Roberts style voice. Acknowledge me. Come on, man. You're overmatched. There's nothing you can do. Come on, boy. Slapping his face and just shit talking him. Great stuff. This tribal chief gimmick is amazingly good. Cesaro here knew this was going to be the story early on, especially when Roman was so dominant. You knew this was going to be a story of Cesaro fighting back at all costs, fighting back despite the injury. By the way, it should be noted here that Roman Reigns is out there by himself. Prior to the match at Gorilla, little conversation with Jay. It's agreed upon that he's going out there alone. So he's out there by himself with no Jey Uso this time. So he's got Cesaro down, but Cesaro continues to fight back no matter what. No matter how many times he's really, really blasted hard, he keeps coming back, fights back, regains control, superplex to Roman into a near fall, goes for the neutralizer, but by this point his arm is really weakened, so he kind of drops the neutralizer a little bit. One of my favorite spots of the match was Cesaro springboarding off the second rope to go for that corkscrew uppercut. Roman counters into a Superman punch. Great shit. Near fall again. Then we get to the end where it's just really about Cesaro, just trying to fight from the ground up. So Roman eventually does lock in the guillotine, which you had a feeling he was going to go for at some point. Cesaro, because he's strong, he's really able to just kind of squeeze his way out of it and reverse it into a sharpshooter. However, it's an improperly applied sharpshooter, and Cesaro is amazingly accurate at applying the sharpshooter. He's very good at it. I'm a Bret Hart mark. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. It pisses me off when I see guys put that on wrong. Nobody knows how to put the sharpshooter on right except for Cesaro. He does it perfectly, but due to the injury and just due to the positioning that he's in, he doesn't have it, applied right, and he's kind of just hanging on, just barely allows Roman Reigns to get to the ropes, but he pulls Roman off, actually rolls him into a crossface next and has him near a tap out there too, but Roman continues to fight out. Finally, Roman regains control, locks in the guillotine again. Cesaro fights back only to fall back into it. This is kind of when it reminded me a little bit of WrestleMania 13 because Austin actually did fight his way out of the sharpshooter before Bret just kept it on and just cinched back up and put it back on him. It was kind of the same thing here. He actually got out of the guillotine, but fell right back in, continued to fight, eventually just goes limp. And referee, no choice, calls for the bell. Roman Reigns retains due to, pass out, knockout, referee stoppage, whatever. And that's that. After the match, Jey Uso comes down. He gives Roman the lay, puts it over his head, I think, and then immediately jumps on Cesaro and starts attacking an already defeated and beaten Cesaro. As he's climbing up to the top rope, I believe, to give Cesaro the splash, Seth Rollins' music randomly hits. Now, help me out because I have not been paying attention for about 2 weeks. How long has this new music been around? It's kind of like a cross between his old one and something else. I just noticed his new music tonight. So this could have been around for a month and I'm an idiot, or it's brand new and I'm not as big of an idiot as I think. So anyway, he comes out, little stare down with Roman Reigns. Now, we mentioned yesterday potential Roman Reigns SummerSlam opponents. And one of them I mentioned, if they can't do a big match, like a big marquee holy shit match like with Brock or maybe even with Lashley somehow. I don't see how you can do that, but maybe. But if you can't like get a Brock in there or something, then, Roman needs somebody, somewhat large or credible or former champion to work with. And Seth Rollins, I think, could be a good candidate for that. So he comes out and immediately has a stare down with Roman. And I'm like, oh shit. Is this potentially foreshadowing here for the future? But then turns his attention to Cesaro and attacks Cesaro. So the show basically goes off the air with Seth Rollins beating the shit out of Cesaro on the outside of the ring, wears him out with a chair, Pillmanizes Cesaro's arm in the chair, slamming him up against the ring post, and then stomping him for good measure on the outside of the ring. So after Cesaro fought for his life, fought his ass off in that match with Roman Reigns, he's put down on the outside by Rollins, which I actually like because, maybe he'd be off TV a couple weeks now to kind of sell all of this, come back looking for revenge. And yeah, you might be right for those who suggested this, that you could actually have Seth Rollins and Cesaro in the Hell in the Cell next month. But I also like the Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns idea. So we'll have to see. We'll see. He got it at Mania. Okay, so it's been like a month. Yeah. I guess I didn't notice it, Mania. Maybe I did. Burn it. Yeah, I heard the burn it down. Brolic Boss, thanks for the $5, dude. I feel like this is a really good main event minus the BS with Miz and Priest. A really good event, minus the BS with Miz and Priest. Yeah, it was not bad. The women's matches weren't that great. I didn't really totally enjoy either one of them. Maybe they were actually okay, I suppose, but I wasn't expecting much in those, so maybe that's why. But the two title matches I thought were very good. It was cool to see Ray and Dominic win the tag team titles, and the match was good. The Dirty Dogs right until the end there, they kind of grew on me. What a weird name for a team, and they just seem like two guys that literally just have nothing going on, and they put them together, but they got into it, and they made it their own, and they did well, and just when I was starting to like them, they're no longer champs anymore. And we talked yesterday, too, about what Ray and Dominic could potentially do now as tag team champions. One of those things could be dropping those titles to the Usos. Assuming Jimmy and everything, these guys get on the same page finally, whatever it takes to get there, whether it's another Hell in the Cell match this time with Roman and Jimmy, or they just do shit on TV and Jimmy falls in line or whatever, and everybody can just be, hunky-dory with each other. You put the Usos in the ring with Ray and Dominic, have them win the tag team titles. That could maybe even set up a really good title match for Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns. You can put it on SmackDown like you did with Daniel Bryan, or do it at Money in the Bank. Just do it in between pay-per-view between now and SummerSlam. Give Roman Reigns another awesome opponent. And I think Rey, at this age, one final, title match, he's not going to win, but just another quality opponent for Roman to face and Roman to beat. And the match would probably be really good with those two. I mean, think about how good Rey and Brock turned out to be randomly when we were like, what the fuck? That turned out to be really fun. So, I think Roman and Rey could potentially do the same thing if you need some opponents for Roman between now and that big SummerSlam match, whatever that might be. So he needs somebody next. So I think it's Jimmy or I don't know who, but Seth Rollins still could be a possibility for SummerSlam, which is why we might have gotten that little face-to-face tonight at Backlash. But we'll have to see. Looks like we're down to our final pay-per-view. One more left. I think that's what the rumors are right now. Next month, Hell in the Cell. That should be a wrap on the Thunderdome. We'll get a couple of Raws and Smackdowns after that prior to Money in the Bank in July with fans, and then we'll have fans from here on out. And I really hope that's the case. I hope we don't have any more setbacks. It gives you kind of an exciting, almost euphoric feeling like, holy shit, you think back to where we were a year ago with no end in sight. And I'm like, holy shit, life is kind of getting back to normal. I'm going on a vacation in July, in late July. So I haven't traveled anywhere. I haven't flown anywhere. I haven't done anything. So it's just kind of nice to get back to normal a little bit. And hopefully by July, fans will be back, man. I'm ready. I am so ready. I'm over pandemic TV. It's been too long, man. Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, hair. Yeah, they're good, Burlick boss. Hair versus hair. They could do that. See, I was thinking like what I laid out earlier. It was like kind of doing a scenario where, Sasha and Bayley attack Bianca, or just Bayley attacks Bianca and they cut her hair off. But if you do a hair match, that could be fun. Bayley probably look a lot like Serena Deeb or something if she cut her hair, wouldn't she? Or if she shaved it all off. And Bianca just would not look right. I don't know, man. That could even add to more heat, bro. Like, I don't know if you were here earlier when I was like laying out the scenario. I was going like even further with it and tying Sasha into it, turning heel, having a couple dudes attack the Street Profits and hold Montez and make them watch while they chop her hair off. It would be even better if it was a hair versus hair match and Bayley lost, but then still cut the ponytail off anyway. That would be even more heat. So, yeah, it could be a hair versus hair thing. I kind of like Bayley's Aunt Janet hair. It's kind of funny. But maybe it's time. I didn't realize she had that carved into her head there. Whose birthday is it? Oh, Nick Musser. Appreciate the $2, dude. Happy 26th birthday. Man, 26. Over halfway to 50. Make a will. You're nearly dead. I'm just kidding. Happy birthday, dude. Glad you're here. I think everyone's all right. We've been hanging out. Good to see you here on your birthday, man. 26. You lucky son of a bitch. It's a good age to be, dude. Enjoy it. Good age to be. Yeah, happy birthday. I love it when we have people here on their birthdays. Big J says Drew may join the Hurt Business. I think he'd fit. I definitely think he'd fit. Who did I have joining the Hurt Business not long ago? I forgot. I want to say it might have been somebody from SmackDown. I can't remember. I had this great idea for somebody to join the Hurt Business, but now I can't remember who. Yeah, I know. I don't think Drew's not being pushed down your throats. That's just like that's the way wrestling works. Your top contenders get title shots. Drew doesn't get any more title shots than any other former WWE champion before him, or most anyway. Hogan, Shawn, Orton, Cena, Triple H, Austin, Brock. Endless title shots, never-ending title shots. So just kind of the way it is. And now it's even worse because it's not, you have so much more content now. Now shows are 3 hours long, followed by a 2-hour show 2 days later, followed by another 2-hour show 2 days after that, followed by a pay-per-view every month and everything. So you just have to fill this time. It's not, you're not doing just 5 pay-per-views in a month anymore. If we were doing 5 pay-per-views a month and Raw was 1 hour a week, I don't feel like anybody would feel shoved down your throat. But now it's just everybody is, Besides, Drew is awesome. So I wouldn't worry about it. Drew had a dominant year. He beat Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania. Multiple time world champion, has been the top guy, one of the top guys along with Roman Reigns in the company all year, all during the pandemic. It's not odd that he'd be getting title matches, multiple title matches. It's actually quite common, and nothing's ever been different. Just the way it's always been. Hmm. Yeah, I think I could see Bayley losing the hair. Bayley's just crazy enough to do it. Bayley's hilarious. And I think Bayley too, she'd be comical. When Kurt Angle lost his hair, it was great. I would love to see Bayley wear a wig with the Steiner earmuffs. Oh my God, I would die if she did that. That'd be so great. But she could always grow it back, and it's already short, so it wouldn't take her that long. She'd probably grow it relatively back within a year or so. Make for good TV. Hmm. Right on. Well, let's see what we got coming up now. So what do you think next month's Hell in the Cell will be? How many Hell in the Cell matches will we get? 2 or 3? Do we get Roman Reigns versus Jimmy Uso? I really, really, really like that idea. Or do we get Seth Rollins and Cesaro based on what we saw at the end of this? And if that happens, I have a feeling they would do a deal with these guys based on the Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns stare down tonight, that if they do Seth and Cesaro in the Hell in the Cell, I think it'll be another number one contenders match or something like that. That might determine the SummerSlam opponent. Maybe. I don't know. You could also think about both of these guys in the Money in the Bank match. Not only Seth, but Cesaro as well. I don't like Cesaro winning the Money in the Bank. I wouldn't want that for him. I would want Cesaro to win the title in a match like he had tonight. Straight up, one-on-one, mano-a-mano, I beat you clean. Not I lose to you clean and then cheat to win the title later. That's no babyface way to go there. So I think a lot of fans are going to have him kind of immediately in their head, oh, he's going to win the Money in the Bank. But think about that. Is he really? Would he really be the best one to win the Money in the Bank? Is that a babyface move to lose clean to the champion? And then, that's what the Miz would do, So I think that it's not, I think a babyface can be champion, but Cesaro isn't that type of, he's not even that type of babyfaces. There are babyfaces that will take advantage of that. And I just think Cesaro is more like dignity kind of. He's got that Daniel Bryan heart, and I don't think he would want it that way. And the story might be more fun with someone else cashing it in. But, we've seen when babyfaces have cashed it in before, how great it can be. Well, when Dolph Ziggler did it, and, you have Cesaro cashing in front of an audience, a fresh audience that's back, that could still be a great moment. But I'm weighing all my options before I'm like putting my money on anybody for Money in the Bank, because it could go to anybody, go in the Raw direction as well. So I don't know with Seth and Cesaro, if they do the Hell in the Cell, I'm not even sure how either guy loses. Seth's already put this guy over a couple of times. Does he put him over again? And Seth still is somebody that's highly regarded on the roster, to put Cesaro over 3 times. I don't know if that's something they will do or not. So feels like we are going to get a Hell in the Cell match there. We could see Bray Wyatt come back at some point. Maybe he makes his presence known. Maybe he's the next challenger for Roman Reigns. Wouldn't be surprised. Would be interesting to see this particular Roman deal with the Fiend, how this particular Roman would handle the Fiend, how Paul Heyman would handle the Fiend. And, if Roman, maybe he's untouchable. Maybe he's not capable of being intimidated like that. Don't know. So we'll see. Should be an interesting summer one way or the other, because feels like we're down to our final 8 weeks of the Thunderdome, and I couldn't be happier. Man, I couldn't be happier. CM Punk comes back and wins Money in the Bank 10 years after the big match with John Cena. Can't believe that's been 10 years, man. I remember I was in upstate New York when it happened. I was out of town. I wasn't home. And I was so young and early into YouTube, but I had a big enough following to where people were like, did you see the pipe? Because it was like I was gone during the pipe bomb and the pay-per-view. Or no, maybe it was 2 weeks later. I saw the pipe bomb. Or no, I was gone for the pipe bomb. That's what it was. I was home for the pay-per-view. I was gone for the pipe bomb. And I remember everybody freaking out. I don't even think I was on Twitter yet. but like in the comments of some of my YouTube videos, did you see CM Punk's pipe bomb or whatever? So that's what it was. I was out of town prior to that. But, him winning the title was pretty amazing. We'll be catching that one here soon. Watch along. Ryback should come back. What I recommend Ryback not do is make a Twitter poll. Everybody wants him to retire. That was a funny, like, I feel like he trolls himself. He put up the Twitter poll, where should I return? I got news for you, Ryback. I don't think anybody wants you. Should I go to Impact? Should I go AEW, WWE, or should I retire? And then everybody votes retire. And then a couple days later, he's like, okay, we've deleted and blocked all the trolls. They're trying to sabotage the poll. So this is the real, authentic, real poll this time. What should I do? And again, the majority of it is retire. So just stop making Twitter polls. Actually, don't, because it's entertaining as hell for me. But if I was you, I would stop making Twitter polls. Mike McGee, thanks for the $5. What about Rock versus Roman at SummerSlam? Rock comes out and tells Roman, you wouldn't be where you're at right now if it wasn't for me. I'm the tribal chief. Would love a Roman Reigns and Rock match. I kind of had that penciled in for WrestleMania here in LA, but the WrestleMania here in LA has now been delayed. I don't know how long this tribal chief shit could last until you can get Rock in here. For SummerSlam, would love to see it. Just depends. I have no idea the Rock's schedule or anything like that. I feel like Rock would be more of a WrestleMania guy if he came back, but they could. They could do that. I would love to see a big marquee match. Still a lot of speculation on where SummerSlam could be. It could be at Madison Square Garden. Would love to see it in Vegas, outdoors. That would be fun. I guess it just depends on, kind of where they stick it. But Rock and Roman, it feels like if they really want to cement Roman and really pass that baton to him, that a victory over not only Rock, but another one probably over Brock Lesnar is needed. I mean, he'll be standing there as a guy that's defeated John Cena, The Rock, and Brock Lesnar. Beat them all. Who's on that list? I guess Triple H probably is. But it's a short list, What's going on, nephew Adam? Good to see you. No idea who Aleister Black. I haven't seen the last couple of Aleister Black's vignettes. Has he been dropping any hints verbally as to who his first program is going to be with? I don't know. Whoever his first opponent is going to be, I would assume it's somebody he's going to beat. Yes, Nick, I am going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I plan on winning that bitch. Plan on winning it. Aleister Black versus The Fiend could be good. Aleister, I guess he's a heel, right? And he's Mr. Intellectual Man with the glasses and the book. Yeah, I expect Roman to make it that 1 year. I mean, he won the belt, at SummerSlam, right? So I expect him to hold it until then, at least, maybe beyond. At some point, we got to start talking about Edge, and Daniel Bryan, because I think Daniel Bryan is, could be heading back at some point. The way Roman was kind of talking shit to the camera tonight a little bit, calling out Daniel Bryan, I think, if he's going to come back and reappear anywhere, WWE might be fun. Edge as well. These two guys were in the WrestleMania main event, and they're both not around right now. I feel like Edge could turn back up. He would be another guy that I would very much like to win the Money in the Bank, because that would be so awesome. Nice little throwback there. Wouldn't be surprised if they did that. He's a babyface. How we were talking about earlier about Cesaro, me not really being into the idea of him winning it, because, he fought so gallantly and, put up such a brave fight and lost clean. For him to turn around and now cheat to win the title seems cheap. I'd rather have him beat and put Roman down clean with a sharpshooter and have Roman tap out or something. I want to see Cesaro win that way. But not that they can't still do that with the Money in the Bank, but I just would prefer it that way. But Edge is a type of babyface where I don't care. He's the exact type of guy I would expect to cash in a shitty way, especially after kind of being humiliated at WrestleMania, being stacked up on Daniel Bryan and pinned by Roman Reigns. I would love for him to win the briefcase. That would be fucking so awesome. Talk about a throwback. My God. Edge in the briefcase. He would only further cement his legacy. He would be the Undertaker WrestleMania streak of Money in the Bank. He was the first, he started it, and then he comes back all these years later and he's got the Money in the Bank. And I think he's successfully cashed it in every time, which I think is only twice, but still, and it's been cashed in on him, which is cool. So he's got a long history with Money in the Bank, and Edge would be fun. But they did give Edge the Rumble. To give him the Money in the Bank is, maybe that's a little much. I'll admit, for the nostalgia factor, I would love to see him win the Money in the Bank. But maybe for storyline sense and the benefit of your talent, maybe somebody else would be better. Fair enough. Give me your ideas, though. Because you have to think about, when thinking about who could win the Money in the Bank, who the best person is, just think about like who would be the most fun to cash it in, you know, heel or babyface. And I don't want WWE just to pull something out of their ass like they did last year. I know we were in a weird time. They had that thing at the headquarters. I'll tell you what, that's where Hell in the Cell needs to be. Stamford, on the roof. Put that big ass cell up there. Throw a motherfucker off. Where's Shane? Let's get Shane in there. But last year, you know, they had the whole thing in the headquarters. They tried to make it fun, but then it turned out to be Otis, and my God, it was a mess. And then it was The Miz. This year, I just want it to be better. Put it on someone like a Cesaro, like an Edge, like a Rollins. I'm trying to think of somebody maybe a bit younger. Nobody on the Raw side I really even care about. I mean, in terms of winning it, somebody fun, like a wild card maybe, like Riddle. Imagine Riddle scooting around backstage with that briefcase, showing everybody, hey, bro, did you see my briefcase? It fits right here on my handlebar. And he'd come up with all these names. He would be a hysterical Money in the Bank briefcase holder. However, we just got Otis last year, so following that up with Riddle. Riddle's, you know, a much credible, you know, in-ring worker, but still he's a fucking goofball. And we already had a goofball with the briefcase last year. I think he was putting pork chops and shit in the briefcase. Matt Riddle probably just put his weed. So he'd be funny, you know, if anything else, but maybe not the best decision. But for me, I'd be like, fuck yeah, put it on Riddle. Give Riddle the briefcase. Sami Zayn is another good option. I'd love to see Zayn win it too. Zayn's awesome. I believe he's got an Intercontinental title shot next week, right? In the Fatal 4-Way. Don't think he'll win, but would like him to. Otherwise, him winning Money in the Bank, he would be a lot like Riddle in terms of just being entertaining and hilarious. Him dancing with that briefcase. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Isaiah B, appreciate the $5 more from you. My prediction for Money in the Bank winners are Edge or Damien Priest. Then for the women, either Shayna or Alexa could be fun. Alexa would be fun because, well, by then there's fans, apparently. According to the reports, there's going to be fans. So you can't do any magic tricks. But if there weren't fans, you could do a lights out thing, and then she appears at the top of the ladder. She's just up there, you know, when she, you know, retrieves the briefcase. You could do something like that if you wanted. But again, I don't know, you know, with everything going on with her, if she would necessarily need the briefcase as well. I think she could just get a regular title shot on her own. Another person that I think could get a regular title shot on their own would be Damien Priest. He's got a ton of momentum after that Bad Bunny, Miz Morrison shit. Hopefully, after the Zombies 8, Miz and Morrison, I think one way to save this whole debacle that they did tonight is tomorrow night on Raw, do the full-blown, full 9 yards, 10-bell salute, Miz and Morrison side by side on the screen, with the entire roster up there and everything. Dang, because they're dead. The Zombies ate them. So they're dead. So do that. That would be fucking hilarious. You would think that after Zombies eat you, that should be the end of a feud. Yeah, I think let's make it a rule, okay? Let's make it a rule. Somebody call WWE or change Wikipedia. Once, if you are eaten by a zombie in a wrestling match, whoever you were feuding with, the storyline's over. That's a new thing now. So let's hope that's the case. And Damien Priest seems like the type of guy that WWE on Raw is just going to say, here's a triple threat. Winner faces Lashley at the next pay-per-view. Because I don't think Lashley is going to be in a Hell in the Cell unless they stick him in there with McIntyre. If he's got a new opponent, I feel like it could just be anybody. And I think Damien Priest could be a guy that could just get a title shot without the briefcase. I think the briefcase needs to go on one of two people, either any heel or a babyface that ain't afraid to bend the rules a little bit. And Damien Priest is a real stand-up guy. Everything we've seen from him so far on TV and the documentaries we've seen on him and his association with Bad Bunny, he's an extremely likable human and character and all of that. So he wouldn't be my first pick, just like Cesaro. Him and Cesaro would not be my first pick for the Money in the Bank because I overthink everything. I'm probably wrong, but, you know, either one of these guys could win it. But I try to think about the type of person and personality I want to hold the briefcase. And if it is going to be on a babyface, I don't want it to be on a goody two-shoes babyface. I want it to be on an edgy babyface. Somebody ain't afraid to, you know, step on a throat or two if he's got to, but at the same time be a babyface. That type of person. Edge falls into that category perfectly. So Someone like him, I think would be better. But it's fun to speculate. Shinsuke Nakamura, I could dig Shinsuke. He's another guy that, even though he's babyface, he's so fucking funny. And just like Asuka, because they're so spazzy and stuff, I'd love if Nakamura won. Kevin Owens is another good example of a babyface that would be proper. Him and Edge. Owens doesn't give a fuck, babyface or not. He'll go out there and do whatever he has to do to get back to a title that he probably feels he should have never lost to begin with 4 years ago or however long it's been. Aleister Black, I wouldn't bring him back and then immediately give him the briefcase. I'd put him back. I'd bring him back and just get the fans, kind of used to whatever this gimmick he has, and have him beat some guys and put some guys over or whatnot, and just build. But if he comes back and he debuts on the go-home show and then he wins Money in the Bank, it's so fast. So, maybe next year for Black, or if Aleister Black has not been off TV this whole time and he's been around, this would be a good time to pull the trigger on him. McIntyre winning Money in the Bank. Yeah. I could see that full circle moment for him. God damn it, I keep trying to win the title and all this shit keeps happening, and I keep getting screwed out of it. And come to think of it, the only reason I'm not champion is because of that damn briefcase. So what if I just go get that briefcase myself? And you talk about full circle revenge on Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's the reason he lost the belt to The Miz to begin with. Coming back, cashing in on Lashley now, winning the belt back would be cool for storyline purposes, but I'm not sure how many fans would really like to see that. I'm one of them. I like Drew and everything. I thought he had an amazing performance tonight, but overall, not probably my first choice of what to do. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying. Of course you do. Victor Colon, how are you? What's up? Oh, drop something. Where have you been, Victor? So I like all of these options. I like Kevin Owens. I like Nakamura. Believe it or not, I do like Drew McIntyre. Riddle would be my number one pick. Could you imagine him with that and dangling it in Randy Orton's face? Oh my God. We got to think about the women too. What do you do with the women? Alexa Bliss maybe, but Shayna would be nice. I'd like to see Shayna get back to, biting people's ears off and dripping blood down her mouth. That would be nice. Hopefully the Nia Jax team is now over now that they're no longer tag team champs. But, it could be a good way to get someone new, in there and over. I'm trying to think who fits that bill on Raw or SmackDown. If they had some recent call-ups, I'd think about someone like a Dakota Kai or somebody like that. I think it would be cool to stick one NXT woman in there. Maybe N-Man. What's wrong with that? I mean, if Charlotte won the Rumble and challenged the NXT, could you technically do it with the Money in the Bank as well? I don't know if they want to start incorporating that and start treading into that water or not, because I think NXT, despite the ratings and everything, have just kind of been operating better lately. I've enjoyed the show better. Seems to be structured a little bit more. They seem a little bit more focused on what they're doing since they're not going head-to-head with AEW anymore. So they probably don't want to rock the boat there and try to fuck with the creative team on one of the main rosters. But if you did stick one NXT male superstar and one female in the respective Money in the Banks, I'd be into that. I'd be into that option, that possibility that somebody could win a Money in the Bank briefcase from NXT. Throw Cameron Grimes in there or something like that. Holy shit, if he wins that thing and him and Ted DiBiase are running around there with a briefcase, that might be fun. Or you could give it to Dakota Kai and then she goes and cashes it in on Raquel Gonzalez. Something like that might be fun, but then it might be too much cross promotion. I think it's best that we leave NXT on its own, because it came dangerously close to really being ruined when they moved to 2 hours and head to head and then on USA Network and all of that. And, they were treading on the line there of, kind of dropping the ball. Feels like they're kind of getting their bearings straight again. And I like it, and probably not a good idea to do that, but it is an option. It's at least an option. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Howeezy. Since the Sami Zayn name was thrown out there, he's right near the top of my list. He'd be hysterical. Aleister Black, Dark Father, looks like Undertaker. He does, kind of. Sasha winning Money in the Bank, that's a good one, Stone Cold. Sasha winning it would actually be quite fitting, I think, especially if she came back and healed it up on Bianca. I'm assuming that Sasha's probably going to go back to a heel. I kind of want her to be. Teddy DiBiase is going to be on NXT this week. Yeah, I think he's been on NXT every week, hasn't he? All AWA Money in the Bank. Yeah, let's do that. Who would even win that? Who would win an AWA Money in the Bank match? Probably Billy Robinson. No, Ray Stevens. He'd climb up there in seconds. I'm going to go Ray Stevens on that. Let's put Ray Stevens, Baron Von Raschke. Let's put Mad Dog Vachon. Let's put Vern in there. Bockwinkel. Maybe Stevenson. And just for good measure, Rock and Roll Buck Zumoff. Picking Ray Stevens in that. Jeff Hardy would love to. Jeff Hardy feels like he is now transitioning into, I'm just going to put everybody over part of his career, which is fine. But it's sad. I wasn't kind of like ready for it. I mean, I guess I was. I thought Jeff would be retired 5 years ago. The fact that he's still in there doing stuff is pretty cool, but he's just losing a lot. And I don't see it for him. I feel like he's, when he came back, he had the feud with Randy Orton. He's had some big pay-per-view matches, but I feel like it's just fizzled out. I don't know what's left on his deal or much longer he's going to be there or what they have planned for him, if they want to try to keep him in the fold and keep him in the company so he won't go over to AEW and reform the Hardys one last time over there, or if they want to maybe keep Jeff around, offer him a backstage role, maybe a performance center role. I know he lives in North Carolina and they love it there, so he's probably not moving anywhere, but, I don't know. Would like to see him, though, kind of when he has his last match. I would hope that it wouldn't be a Kurt Angle situation to where, kind of just ends with a whimper like that. Something a little bit more meaningful might be more fun whenever that happens. I mean, you can even do it on TV if you want it. I don't mind. It's just, I want Jeff to have his, final match and that be it. But with a guy like him, I feel like as long as Jeff medically is allowed to wrestle, he could always just jump in there every now and then. He's a guy that may never have like an official last match. Because even after life of WWE, who knows what him and Matt Hardy will get themselves into. I can see these guys being 60 years old and doing a deletion match or some shit. Greg Gagne will win. He ain't even in the match. I'm not even putting Greg in there. Hell no. Omos for Money in the Bank. Yeah, Omos doesn't even need the ladder. That's what you do. You put Omos in there and he just reaches up and grabs it. They should lower the briefcase just a little bit. I guess, what is he? He's 7 feet, right? So I guess it's not realistic for him to really reach up there, but man, he can come close. You can just get a little tiny ladder or one little tiny little mini trampolines you'd see in your grandparents' basement. You can just jump on that and grab it. What's going on? Charlie sees all. Huh. Last year, Lashley walked into Backlash without a title and walked out without it. The WWE title in this year's Backlash, he entered Backlash champion, left as champion. Yeah, did he wrestle? Was it Lashley and Drew last year? I think it was, right? Did Drew defend against him, beat him, and now this year? Payback time. Huh. How about a Hell in the Cell between Greg's cats? They actually had a Hell in the Cell match last night. I have a huge walk-in closet here in the office that I put them in when I'm streaming a lot. And then if they're ever a little bit too rambunctious when I go to sleep, I lock them in there, just to kind of not drive us all crazy. And then last night I could hear all sorts of commotion in there. And then this morning, one of my guys had a little cut on his nose, and I think they just had a Donnybrook in there and just tore each other's eyes out. It's a very confined space, so it probably felt like a hell in the cell to them. Oh, Becky Lynch would be a great idea. Have her come in, sneak in the back door in the women's match, win the Money in the Bank. Hell yeah. But Becky Lynch is someone that in storyline, I believe, could come right back to TV, and she gets title shot right off the bat. She forfeited the title because she got knocked up, like it was, she never lost it or anything. And that whole no automatic rematch clause shit, that's out the window. Becky was the champ for like a year. She held the title for a year and never lost it. So she's someone that I don't think should need the Money in the Bank. She should be a title shot on day one type of person. And that's what I think whenever she comes back, it'll probably be a confrontation to set up a match at a pay-per-view for the title. And since we're already into late May here, I'd be cool with that time just being SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam would be a great time to bring Becky back. Lucky Becky, she got to get pregnant right at the beginning of the pandemic, missed all that time, and then comes back in when the fans are back. How long was Becky on TV with the pandemic? 2-3 weeks? She did the beer bash thing with Austin, like right at the beginning. maybe Bill, and then she did WrestleMania itself in the match with Shayna, and then passed the belt to Asuka after Money in the Bank, I guess. Yeah, so I guess it was a few weeks. But she got to miss the majority of it, is the point. And then she just comes back in and wins at the end. That would be awesome. Yeah, I'd set something up for Becky at SummerSlam. No Money in the Bank needed. I would just have her come back and challenge Rhea Ripley, and, assuming Rhea continues on this run, Rhea, you got to remember, is a heel. And then she can survive these title matches if she has another one against Charlotte, or another one against Asuka, or another one against somebody else, and she beats them, and then she heads into SummerSlam, and a couple of weeks before, maybe after Money in the Bank, maybe the night after that. And actually, if that's the case, I think the first ever Raw with fans will be the night after Money in the Bank, according to the reports. The reports that we kind of heard is that live fans will be back on the 16th, which is a SmackDown. Money in the Bank is on the 18th of July. So the first Raw with fans would be that following Monday. That would be a great place to bring back Becky Lynch. Have her come out there, fans go nuts, stare down with Rhea face to face. I challenge you for that title at SummerSlam, and the man is back, and I'm taking my belt back or whatever. And at SummerSlam, she wins the belt back. She does. Give it back to her. Becky beats Rhea at SummerSlam for the title. That's what I would do. So that's all you need to do. I don't think she needs the briefcase. Becky can just come back and says, title match, please. And Sonya and Adam will be like, yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Here you go. You and Rhea at SummerSlam. Go get him, Tiger. That's what I'd do. You wish you were knocked up? No, you don't. Oh, I'm not going to win Money in the Bank. Who the hell am I going to challenge? I don't want either one of those guys. I don't want Lashley or Roman to kill me because I like both of them. Can I cash it in on whenever like one of those zombies wins the 24/7 title? Then I'll cash it in on them. I'll win the 24/7 title. What's next for Seth? I think Hell in a Cell might be next for Seth. Something with Cesaro is definitely going to happen. We know that. Oh, that's a good idea. Cesaro do the swing on top of the cell. Oh. What about swinging him off the cell? Swing him over and then let's go. And then Seth just batons across. Oh my God, if you could set something up to take a bump like that, it would certainly outdo Jericho's bump off the cage, that's for sure. And he could swing Seth, and when he gets to that like 10th swing, he lets him go, and Seth just goes flying way off the cell onto some crash pad a mile away. That would be fucking hilarious. Gonna be hard to pull that off, though. But they could edit it. They could have him swing it and then let go of Seth, and then he goes flying, and then you cut and you see, like how the Hurricane had his entrance, his Titantron entrance, and he would be flying through space. You see Seth like flying through space and flying through different parts of the world over mountains, and oh God, that'd be funny. And then landing on a crash pad somewhere just for kicks. Why not? Why not? I don't know where R-Truth is. I think he was on Raw Talk. I think he sometimes forgets that he's 24/7 champion, or is he even 24/7 champion right now? I think he is. But whenever he is, I sometimes think he forgets that he is and forgets to go to work. But everybody loves R-Truth. WWE allows him just to show up for work whenever he wants. He kind of sets his own schedule. At least that's what I've heard. So Truth can do what he wants because he's R-Truth, and he's awesome. Money in the Bank on Father's Day. A lot of people have brought that up. You could have Dominic turning on Ray on Father's Day. I mentioned earlier on, if they would have lost this tag match here tonight, I could have seen Dominic kicking Ray's leg out of his leg, but they didn't do the Owen Brett thing. They could do something on Father's Day, which would be gnarly. Oh my God. I hope they do. I hope they do. That would be fabulous. Oh my God. So emotional. And then if they did that, you would think that they'd probably be setting up for a SummerSlam match between the two, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic. That would be interesting because Rey once fought at SummerSlam for custody of Dominic. Now he's fighting against Dominic. And think about, I always talk about like how you can go back in time. Go back and tell your 2005 self who was watching this custody match and say to and go tell you that Rey is actually going to be fighting that little kid with the bleached hair in the front row in 2021. That would be crazy. 16 years later. My God. I'd be into that, man. Sure. Why not? Why not? Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of Money in the Bank match card predictions. It's too far off. We got one pay-per-view between this. We got to do Hell in the Cell first. So everybody's going to have a title match, I would assume. And I don't know if they'll go for a one-night cash-in this year. They might want to do one since fans are going to be back, and it would be a great reaction to, maybe do one person cashing in. Kevin Owens would be a good candidate for that then. I think that would get the biggest pop out of the audience if he was to win the Money in the Bank and then turn up later in whatever match Roman Reigns has and cash in on him. But again, I think Roman should go into SummerSlam as champion, but imagine the pop, man. I mean, and if it was Owens, motherfucker, I already beat you 3 times when we were feuding and you escaped with this title, so I'm taking matters into my own hands, and I'm going to take this belt that I already beat you for, and I'm just taking it for myself now. I'm going to make my own luck. I'd like that story. I'd like that story a lot, but I think if he's made it this far with the title, he should make it all the way to SummerSlam. Maybe you do the one-night cash-in for the women or something. I don't know. Not sure what you do there. Who knows? But anyway, I should probably be wrapping it up because we are going to be back tomorrow night, right after Monday Night Raw, for a full show review there, and we'll talk about whatever's going to be set up for Hell in the Cell. I don't know if we'll have the seeds planted all the way through for that, or if we'll have maybe 2 matches, in our heads that's likely going to take place, if that'll happen. Off the top of my head, I don't know when they're going to do the title match, the tag title match with Riddle and Orton against AJ and Omos. That might be a Hell in the Cell undercard match. Other than that, Lashley's going to defend. Whether or not it's in the cell, that's up in the air. Don't know what anybody's going to do right now, but the Cell and Money in the Bank, hopefully at the very least, will be interesting, and we'll have a good summer here. So go back to the chat, make sure there's nothing else. Yeah, I am out of here. Uso versus Uso at Hell in the Cell. That could also be done as well. I feel like Roman and Jimmy makes more sense because of what happened with Jay and Roman last year, but Uso versus Uso as well. There definitely is tension there. Yeah, Ricochet was in street clothes today. I don't know what he was doing there, but yeah, Dominic's first match 1 year ago at SummerSlam. So yeah, he's come a long way. He's good too. The kid's good, and he's a champion with his dad. Very awesome. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your Sunday night. I'm going to chill out for the rest of the evening, have some dinner. Hope you guys do too. Make sure you're here tomorrow night, immediately following Raw, for a full show review. I'll post a link to that review later tonight or early tomorrow. And like I said, hit the like button on your way out the door. And if you're not subscribed,